Hey, how's it going? This is Chris from the Inspired Life podcast. Excuses. We all make excuses to a certain extent. And if you're one of the few people who has ascended the excuses, then you've probably done so by doing a lot of very deliberate work. And my guess is that at some point in your life, you have made an excuse as to why you didn't do something or why you did do something. Either way. So what exactly is an excuse? I personally feel like excuses are ways that we refuse to take responsibility for our own lives. So now how do we get past excuses? How do we really stop using them and start taking responsibility for our lives? Well, I find that the way that I do a lot of things like this, about like what I'm about to say, but I will go the extreme the other direction. And I qualify this a lot with what I say on this station. I'm not a master yet. I am certainly a lot better than I was 5 years ago, and definitely a lot better than I was 10 years ago. But if we take this concept of going the opposite direction and we say, I am responsible 100% for everything that happens in my life. Everything. Now, even if that is not actually true, because it's not, right? Or actually, who knows, really? Who knows? But if you act as if you're 100% responsible for literally everything, even the things that look like accidents, you don't beat yourself up like, oh man, I got stung by a bee. Why did I do that to myself? But you just notice. So here's an example, because I know it will help to get a little example just so I'm not in the clouds. Let's get on the floor now. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, slams on their brakes, and you rear end them. Now, in California where I am, if you rear end somebody, it's your fault. I'm pretty sure all the time, because you're supposed to leave a gap. But this person cut you off and then slammed on their brakes. Now, I would say, even though California says it might be your fault for hitting them, I would say it's probably that other driver's fault. But let's say we're taking 100% responsibility for our own life, every single thing that happens. Not saying that, yes, officer, it was my fault, I will pay for this other person's insurance. I'm not saying it like that. What I am saying is, okay, if I were to act as if this was 100% my doing, what can I do next time so that this never happens again? Well, maybe I just need to be more aware of my surroundings. Maybe I need to be aware of the car that speeds by me super fast, and in the back of my head think, I should slow down just in case this guy changes into my lane. And maybe I also need to be aware constantly of the lanes on my left and on my right, just in case someone does cut me off. Then I know beforehand which lane is open so that I can go into that lane. You see what I'm saying? It's not that I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I'm taking 100% responsibility for my life. I caused a car accident. Oh, I'm so stupid. None of that. None of that. It's more interesting. What can I learn? What can I learn from that? Because none of us is ever going to be at the point where we are living our lives exactly how we want to live them. We're always going to find those instances where we fell short of what we believe we are capable of or what we expect of ourselves. And during those times that we do, again, if we take it as if we were the ones that caused that entire thing, not to berate ourselves and beat ourselves up, but to recognize that we have a choice and that we could learn from that for next time. So instead of saying, why'd you do that, self, you can say, interesting, how can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? Because I am the master of my own universe. Was that He-Man? Masters of the universe? You are He-Man or He-Woman, and you are the master of your own universe, and you get to decide how you respond to every situation. So if you respond with that personal responsibility, then you will in the future be more responsible, start to take things more seriously, and just generally live a life of your choosing. So hope that made sense, and love to hear your input and feedback on that. Thank you. I'm talking to that man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Sorry about that singing. I know probably B- singing, but MJ, gotta represent MJ. Totally right? You know, you have that control. And I think so often we, myself included, that's why I said we, point outside of ourselves that once this changes or once that changes, then my life will be where I want it to be. Then and only then. But you know, this world is made up of about 7 billion other people who are exactly like you. Exactly like you. Even Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Donald Trump, all the big shots who you see as, and by the way, I mentioned those 3 names, no particular reason, just because they're the first 3 that came to my head, but everybody is just like you. Just like you. We have the same nervous system, the same interpretations of our surroundings, the same emotions. And all you need to do, all I need to do, all any of us need to do to change the world, literally, is look in the mirror and change ourselves. That is the only thing that we can change. I mean, it's hard enough to change yourself. Have you been listening to audio like this for a while? I have. You know, the audio books, the self-help section. Maybe you're in business for yourself, so you're listening to business development books. You're listening to all that stuff that is helping you become a better person, better business person, maybe fitter, all this personal development, right? How long has that taken you? How long has that taken you? How slow of a snail's pace process is that? And that's you with yourself. So, it's pretty much hopeless for any of us to try to change anybody else in hopes that that will somehow change the world. So, again, look in the mirror. All of us, again, myself included. And we need to double down on our efforts to make ourselves into the individuals that we desire to be. That vision that we have of ourselves, of that ideal that we have. And that ideal is different for each person. And all we can do is continually close the gap between where we are and where we want to be. Because, I'll tell you this, you will never be 100% where you want to be. If you are, you're going to be bored out of your mind. Totally bored out of your mind. What are you going to do now? You're already the perfect person. So, all we can do is take that inventory of ourselves, where we are exactly, and make baby steps toward it. So, good luck, my friends. If you have any questions, any comments on this episode, I would love to hear from you. And just generally, or specifically, what are you doing to close your gap? How are you making your world a better place by looking in the mirror and taking those incremental steps in becoming the person that you want to be? Cheers.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.